We are about a day removed since the Yankees lost the World Series. It still stings, but nevertheless, it's now the offseason, which means free agent moves will be happening. The New York Yankees have 6 upcoming free agents. Let's see who should stay and who should go. Gonna start off with the first one, relief pitcher Tim Hill. He came over from the Chicago White Sox. He was waived by the White Sox. Yankees pick him up for absolutely nothing, and what a season he had in New York. Now, he brought over a 5.87 ERA in Chicago, plays 35 games in pinstripes, puts up a 2.05 ERA through 44 innings pitched. And in the postseason, he was lights out. We're talking 10 games and an ERA of a 1.08. I do think that Tim Hill should stay. This is the kind of guy that the Yankees need in the bullpen because he never had a single bad outing with New York. He could handle those big lights, and he absolutely pitched gems in the postseason. Next up is Cardiac Clay Holmes, and just for that reason, Cardiac Clay, that's his nickname. He always gives fans and even managers, little anxiety when he's out on the mound. He lost the closing role late in the season to Luke Weaver, another White Sox pitcher who absolutely balled out, but Clay Holmes is set for free agency. Worst season ERA-wise as a New York Yankee. We're used to seeing this guy post sub-3 ERAs. He had a 3.14 ERA in 67 games, 63 innings pitched, which means he could not even average an inning pitch per game. In the postseason, though, he was used a lot. We're talking 13 games and a 1.35 ERA. I know he did have his struggles, though, in the 5th and last game of the World Series. But nevertheless, we're talking great postseason numbers from Clay Holmes, which I do feel like did redeem him a little bit. Let me remind you guys, he was never a closing pitcher until he came to New York. And overall, he was pretty lights out. At one point, I did consider Clay Holmes to be a top 5 closing pitcher in the league. Obviously, though, he did lose that role rightfully, though. I do think that the Yankees should bring him back on a short-term deal, but mainly keep him as a reliever and keep that closing role to Luke Weaver. And coming up now, we have the position player of Gleyber Torres, the Yankees second baseman for so many years now. He's finally set for free agency. And as much as I love Gleyber, I'm all into that Gleyber Day stuff. I think Gleyber Torres should not return to the New York Yankees. My biggest issue is he did not want to change positions. Meanwhile, the Yankees bring in Jazz Chisholm, who has never played third base, and Chisholm says, I want to do whatever is best to help my team win. Meanwhile, Gleyber Torres did not want to change positions when he was struggling defensively. Gleyber Torres is at best an average defender, and we saw in the World Series defense, along with a lack of offense, but it was mainly defense that killed the New York Yankees in Game 1, which ruined the vibe going into Game 2, and then, of course, in Game 5, that massive 5th inning collapse by the Yankees defense. I do think Gleyber Torres should walk, and just speaking about offense a few seconds ago, he had 10 less home runs in 2024 with 5 less RBIs, and his batting average was down from a 273 in 2023 to a 257 in 2024. And then staying on the position players, we have outfielder Alex Verdugo. Now, when Verdugo came over from the White Sox to the Yankees via trade, I honestly was excited. I didn't really know what to expect because Verdugo, he's considered a top player in the league, at least a top 30 player in the league, but not really known for his bats. I did feel like he could handle the New York Lights, consider he played in both Los Angeles and then Boston most recently with the Red Sox, but he just wasn't really able to get a solid footing with the Yankees. He did have a good stretch for about a month, but he really did fade away pretty fast in my opinion. He's a great defender. I consider Verdugo a top 10 defensive outfielder in the league. But offensively, you're playing 149 games, so almost every single game, 559 at-bats. You can't be posting a 230 batting average with a 647 OPS. I do think that if Alex Verdugo is to come back, it should be on a short-term, not big money contract. But at the end of the day, I think even if he does come back, preferably in a platoon spot, Jason Minguez will be starting in the outfield in at least one outfield sector on 2025 opening day for the New York Yankees. And then going back to relief pitching, Tommy Kahnle. Now, Tommy Kahnle absolutely schmidt the bed in Game 5 of the World Series, but that should not take away the just impressive, absolutely impressive career best regular season he had in New York, and just overall his entire career. 50 games, 42 and 2/3 with a 2.11 ERA. Best season ERA wise by pitching a minimal of 20 innings. Look, Tommy Kahnle, he's going into his age 35 season. He's in no way a blooming flower. He's already been bloomed, but this is still a lockdown relief pitcher. That entire World Series against the Dodgers, it was just so much inconsistencies from the Yankees in really every single sector, every single category when it comes to offense and defense. I can't really blame Kahnle because that, like I said, that entire Game 5 was just wild. I can't say, hey, let's not bring that guy back because he had that bad inning. At the end of the day, the Yankees' defense, position player defense, is what killed the team in the 5th inning, allowing that 5-run lead to just disappear. I do think Tommy Kahnle should come back on either a 2 or 3 year deal. And then last but not least, the player that everyone has been waiting for, Juan Soto. I don't even have to go into his stats. He had a historic season, but was it a one and done in pinstripes where the New York Mets even pick him up and allow Juan Soto to stay in New York? That would be a massive failure by the New York Yankees. Now, Soto said that's going to be a failing, losing the World Series that he will never forget. So, in a way, he does have unfinished business in Yankee Stadium. Will he come back on possibly a short-term deal, or will he want to look for something longer and end his career with whatever team that signs him? Nevertheless, the New York Yankees, by not bringing back several of these free agents I listed, that will open up some cap space because Juan Soto, he's going to command a lot. Now, the Yankees could possibly backload it like how the Dodgers did Ohtani, but nevertheless, Juan Soto is going to be commanding well above $450 million in my opinion. He's that big of a player. He put up history in New York. He showed that he could hit big in New York. I mean, what he did in the ALCS and what he even was doing in the World Series for a while, it was Soto and Stanton that was really dragging the Yankees along on their backs. Juan Soto is a true generational talent, and he's nowhere close to 30 yet. He just had his 26th birthday. This guy is still very young, and in my opinion, hasn't even hit his prime yet, which is actually really scary for the rest of the league. Undoubtedly, Yankees need to do whatever they could to re-sign Soto in free agency.